Oh,
Yes.
guys, I don't know how you've been feeling this past month, but I've been feeling like absolute butthole.
Why so?
Why
How
is that?
so?
I don't know, dude. It's been a rough couple of weeks, man.
In what
Hectic, dude.
sense? I agree. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to see where you're at.
There's just a lot going on, right? So like, I've been back at work, physically working now for a while, and I've never been more like out of place. Have you guys watched what's that movie the Jordan Peele made? Get Out.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you know when that dude is sinking back and he's in the sunken place is what they call it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I've never felt more like I'm living that experience than I have the last couple of weeks. Like everything's on autopilot, and I'm literally just taking a back seat, watching it all happen, and like just checking out completely.
Oh, hectic. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's rough.
it sounds. I'm gonna be honest. It sounds pretty familiar
Yeah.
because I kind of feel the same. Because I haven't really thought about this year yet. So I'm not sure what I want to get up to, or So I kind of feel like I'm in. Well, I had a similar thought that what you have, but it's probably like in a different analogy. You know, Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yeah.
when Jack Sparrow ends up in Davy Jones' locker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I am at the moment.
Ooh, what do you mean?
It's great. It's just like, you don't know yet where, what you want to do this year, or what. I mean, it hasn't really started. I'm still on holiday, but either way, you know, just think it would be nice to have some form of direction soon. So I don't know if that's similar to how you're feeling, but
Yeah, actually, I mean, I guess lack of sense of direction is a good way to say it, because so we moved houses, and then I went straight into that to working 6 days straight back to back, and everyone I've been talking
wow.
to at work that's like that I've had to connect with has been talking about how like depressed they feel and how empty they feel inside, and how like, and usually where I would be in a position, like, because I'm pretty naturally optimistic, to like be like, oh, it's okay, like it'll get better, look at it from this perspective. I'm right there with them. I'm like, yeah, this fucking sucks, like if I were you I would quit. And
wow, okay.
yeah, like I'm Morpheus in the Matrix, and I'm just handing out red pills to everyone around me.
To get out.
Yeah, and it's like I just can't fake it anymore. And I've had people like pull me aside and ask me if I'm doing okay, and I guess I'm telling them like, yeah, I'm doing okay, I'm just being honest, and I'm not in the frame of mind to want to put on a show or pretend like I'm all right when I'm not, or like feign this enthusiasm that just isn't there. And so I think I'm just willing to be more emotionally honest to people around me, and it's hitting them in a weird way, and it's making me feel weird about it.
Yeah. And it's also not a way people are probably used to seeing you.
Yeah, 100%.
So it confuses them a little, yeah.
I'm curious. You said you're experiencing this, and you said it feels weird. Do you think you're experiencing something that's that you've experienced before, but it's heightened, or do you think that is this a brand new experience that you're feeling?
It definitely feels like a familiar feeling. It's not something that is like foreign to me. I just have less of a resistance to resist it. You know what I mean? Like usually, like I fight it away and I push through, but I just don't have any of that in me. Like I would just rather just let it hit me.
Yeah. So it's a what do you call it? It's a bit of a struggle, you would say.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's not like a because I mean you went through a period a little bit ago where you were kind of experiencing like an emotional lag.
Mm-hmm.
You were struggling because you had become very aware of your surroundings. It's like waking up to the Matrix, but still being stuck within it, or being stuck within David Jones'
100%.
darker type of experience. And yet
Davy Jones.
you're all aware of it, and now it kind of is it's having a bigger effect on you than it did. Why do you think that is? Like, I'm curious.
Dude, that's a really good question. I guess if you put it like that, I would describe it like putting on a pair of shoes that you've outgrown, like they don't fit you anymore, right?
Yeah.
And it's really uncomfortable, but I keep wearing the same size shoes even though my feet don't fit anymore. And I keep wearing these shoes around all day, and then it feels like when I get home I take them off and I finally feel comfort, and I finally feel like everything is working and fitting the way that it should, and then I wake up the next day just to put those same shoes on. And so after a while, like, you just get exhausted, like you can bear it for a month or two, but the longer you avoid changing your shoes, just the more I guess less optimistic about the situation you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's deep, dude.
I hear. But I'm kind of curious as to, like, because it feels like you were fully aware that your shoes weren't fitting.
Yeah.
Like 2 months ago as well. And now I'm curious because it's obviously now stockpiling. And do you think it's, well, we all know it's the sense of, like, the concept of a lack of meaning or lack of purpose.
Yeah.
Because your meaning and purpose isn't tied to your job. So you work every day in a system that you don't believe, or, like, it's not like you don't believe in it, but, like, it doesn't bring value or whatever to you.
100%.
Now you're in a position where it's even worse because it's stockpiling. Like, you're completely over the experience.
Yeah. That's 100%.
So, that's interesting because I was listening to this podcast of Hannah Arendt, which is a German philosopher. You're fine. She was a German philosopher, and she hated being called a philosopher because she said she was a political theorist.
Mm-hmm.
And her big thing was that
sounds like something a philosopher would say.
It really does. She was she said her thought was that something went horribly wrong when not Aristotle, not Plato, but
Socrates.
What's his name? When Socrates was executed, Plato kind of what do you call it? He climbed into his, like, ivory tower, and then he decided that philosophy is best done in reclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
But where in reality she said that that's kind of where philosophy ended up failing to an extent, because she believes that our philosophy is. Oh, sorry, I went down. And everything we are, everything that we're about should be addressing our purpose. So, for instance, thank you so much. Not necessarily working so that you can survive, but like having a job so that you can contribute to something bigger and having a purpose. Where at this point in time, it's kind of the opposite way, where it's we sell our purpose and we sell our lives so that we can have the ability to go to work and do something we don't give a shit about.
Man.
Yeah. So it's this, and it's quite interesting because it you can see it in human history. Like, I remember in the book *Sapiens*, they discuss that. They discuss how the concept, how humanity kind of shifted from being a group of people who did who we are, who lived like who they are. Yeah. So that they could, or like they did things to survive, so that they can live out who they are.
Yeah, they only did enough to survive, so they can enjoy the majority of their time, like living presently.
Because living was the majority of their life, and how that slowly shifted to become that they actually swapped living with survival. If that makes any sense. Yeah. So they swap. So now you do, and it's curious because, and the reason I'm saying all of this is because you're aware of this. Like, you're aware that your purpose isn't like working,
right?
And that there's some, and you're aware, and now all of a sudden some dynamic has shifted to make the weight even more unbearable than it used to be. Which is what I'm curious about. Like,
what was the shift?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm asking you. I don't know what happened.
Oh shoot! I'm down.
It's fine. We're coming. It could just be like it might just be like a sense of like you're over it, like you're sick of it.
That's
I'm
exactly what it feels like. Is like I'm just so sick of it, dude, and I can't even pretend like I care anymore. Like I can't even. I feel like this weird sense of authenticity now, where it's just like before I could fake it so hard that I would lie to myself, to make it a little bit more tolerable. But I am just not interested in living my life that way anymore. And I've been listening to a lot of Alan Watts lately, and if you haven't checked it out, like I really recommend it.
About to say I haven't noticed.
Bro, that dude is insane. Like one of his famous quotes is, when you start to view everything as survival or profit, you cease to see the magic in the world, and in that way we die.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is really deep, because then I asked myself the question, like, when was the last time I did something just because I wanted to? Like, I genuinely wanted to, not in an effort to, because I had to for survival, or in an effort to like turn a profit so that I could buy myself more time to get out of work, but just genuinely a pure selfish desire, just because I wanted to do something and it was cool.
Yeah.
And I can't remember I can't remember the last time I did that. Where my root motivation didn't stem from a place of either survival or greed, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I started thinking about that, and I'm like,
Leave one alive.
yeah.
Okay.
I started thinking about that, and I started asking myself more questions, and I'm just to a point where, like, I think I've just experienced too much of the real world now to be able to turn a blind eye to it. Like, that's where I want to be, and this just isn't doing it enough,
That's why I'm getting curious. You've been aware for a while, and I think that all of us to some extent have been. My curiosity is, why do we stay in this cycle? Because we're, like, at this point in time, we're all aware of the systems that kind of
keep us trapped.
Yeah, we're not ignorant to them, and yet, like, you make this statement where you said, like, you feel like we feel like this, but we've also been feeling like this for a while, all three of us.
Yeah,
like, we're all so aware, and yet we go undercover every day pretending like we're normal.
Yeah,
We like undercover, like, in a sense of, like, we go back to the people we see every day pretending like we don't know better. You know what I mean? And that to me seems even crazier than not realizing. It seems crazier to me, the fact that we're all so aware, and yet we walk back every single day doing exactly the same thing.
You know what that reminds me of?
Because it's called insanity. It's the literal definition of insanity. No, the literal definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Yeah,
and yet
100%.
here we are every single day, and then we sit here talking about these phenomenal concepts which are life-changing, and then we go, whoop, time to put my big boy pants, I gotta go to bed early because I've got to work tomorrow morning.
Yeah, dude, fuck, that's so real. What is that?
Not to be a Debbie Downer.
No, but it's so true,
called
dude.
Insanity. Well, so that's what, and I sent the podcast to you.
I'm down.
We are playing our part. We are playing our part in the banality of evil. The banality of evil is that concept that says we're aware, or, like, you're not just aware, but you're like, we are just another part of the cog who essentially will
Anybody getting Gaia? Leave one alive if you can.
There's like hundreds.
Yeah, in the tunnel as well.
Okay, I'm coming. I've got you. I'm covering you.
Yeah, I'm
you
down
raise
as
them.
well.
Never mind.
Get him first.
I was trying
Damn it! You're blowing my mind a little bit, Nick.
It's interesting. The banality of evil comes from this thought that Hannah Arendt said after World War II. They were interviewing, and they had on trial people who commit war crimes. So they had this guy called Adolf Hitler. No, he was. And then when she went to go look at him, just to kind of see what this man looks like, everyone was kind of, because his job was to send thousands of people to concentration camps to be executed and murdered, and that's kind of that was his job. And then when they saw him, they say that he looked like the most boring and average human being, and he was nothing exceptional. He wasn't some sort of genius twirling his mustache and evil. In fact, he was just a guy. He was just another guy who, in fact, was as normal as the next. And the reason she says the banality of evil is because that boringness, that banality of life, the fact that we, even though knowing full well what's going on in the world, the fact that we still just get up and we go to our place of work and we listen to the rules and we follow the guidelines and we do this. That's actually how evil happens. It's the people who are just looking for a promotion. This guy wasn't he didn't have evil. He wasn't a mass murderer. He wasn't some maniac. He was just somebody who was looking for his next promotion.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the concept of the banality of evil. The fact that even us, like you are what you would say woke to whatever the hell, and yet
I'm still there.
We're still there. I would say the craziest thing that you've done, Kaio, and by the way, I'm not trying to talk you out of quitting your job or
No, I get it.
The craziest part of your entire experience, and that we still allow ourselves to feel the things we're feeling, even though we know full well that our worth isn't tied up in our job, our worth isn't tied up in whatever the world says it is. The truth is, our worth is tied up in who we are and you know what I mean? And I say this full well knowing that my biggest fear was that I would be forgotten. You know what I mean? That's my biggest fear, that my platform will never be bigger than it was when I was working as a mass manipulator at a mega church. But I think the banality of evil is the concept that it's even worse to sit and allow myself to feel like shit.
I think there's
Once
a
again,
fox trapped
that's
in
only
there.
my experience. That's the concept of the banality of evil. That evil is so it doesn't actually belong to anything or to anyone. It's just who we are. It's like so ingrained in the doing of nothingness. So if you want to read it up, her name is Hannah Arendt. She was a political philosopher. The reason she said all this is because that she believed that more people should have because she believes that if more people had this space where they felt purpose and contributing to the world, instead of just working their 9 to 5s, that stuff like the Holocaust would not have happened, because more people would have had an input. You know what I mean? More people would have had things to say.
That's interesting.
That's an insane concept. And you know what? It makes a lot of sense, dude. It makes a lot of sense in the political landscape of America today. Like,
dude, that's exactly what I'm saying.
For whatever reason, right? Like, I'm not saying that it's valid or not. We have seen more restrictions imposed on the lives of people in America than ever before in history, right? This is the most restrictive time in which you could live in America outside of, back in like 400 years ago when we were still having slaves. Like, in modern America, this is probably the most restrictive lifestyle you could have.
Yeah.
And with that, more people are just being forced into very narrow and insignificant buckets of what their days look like, because they're not able to go out and, let's say, like, sedate themselves to the reality that they live, right? Like, less people can go out, less people can have drinks or have gatherings or go visit family or do things that normally would make the workflow grind worth it, right?
Yeah.
And they are just getting more, like, Americans are getting more and more complacent.
Leave this guy alive?
You're seeing Americans more and more complacent to whatever side of the aisle they belong to than ever before.
Yeah.
Right? People who are on the political left are more liberal than they ever have been before, and people on the political right are more conservative than they ever have before, to the point where they will storm the nation's capital in what they think is a defense of what they believe. Or
no, that was Antifa.
Well, okay, on the other side of the aisle, when they were like Black Lives Matter protests, like, it was the same level of commitment to the cause, but just for whatever their political leaning is.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, guys. We can just hang around here for a bit.
Yeah, man.
Agreed.
That's a good idea.
Well,
Before we move on.
Hannah Arendt's whole concept was the fact that, and this plays into the capitalistic society, and she has a lot of commentary on the capitalistic society, just as much as she does any Marxist society, where she suggested that the reason, like the fact that we're all just living from day to day, and like we're also numb to what like ever we get, like, so people and political parties would give us information, and they'll say the following is what we believe, and the following is happening, and the following is what we are about. And in doing so, we actually have what she calls the word was something followers. It's the concept being that it's just these people who mindlessly absorb and follow whatever they're giving, instead of thinking for themselves and producing a great political perspective. So now you have you've got a ton. So now you've got a two-party system in America, which is a crazy concept because you have millions of people. The fact that there are millions of people and two political parties that are like, that is not a natural. No, that's not natural at all.
There is no way that many people have that limited of differences in their views of the world.
Yeah. So what I would suggest then is what you're experiencing, in the sense that you are going, I feel completely depressed and out of place. I would suggest that you're in a better position than any of those people who are in a position of not even recognizing it or realizing it.
Yeah, dude. Fuck. Well, that's the curse of awareness, right? Like, you just realize how small the fishbowl is. Like, you're not in the ocean like you thought.
Well, there is a statement about that. I don't know if you've heard it. It says that ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
I don't know if I made that up or anything, but
no, I'm pretty sure it's from the Matrix.
Never heard of
it. Dude, I love the fact that everything in this whole chat is always just contributing to the Matrix.
Dude, the Matrix predicted everything.
It's like The Simpsons.
Yeah, you know what's crazy too is how hard other people will fight to convince you to stay. Like, the amount of people that would like pull me for like a one-on-one conversation that they thought they were being helpful in said something to the effect of, but don't do anything stupid, right? Like, I know you're unhappy, but like, is there a way that you could convince yourself that this is okay so that you don't give up this surface level comfort?
What do you mean? What do you mean, like live in denial?
Yeah, essentially that's what they're saying. They're saying, hey, don't trade your salary and your benefits and the consistency of pay and the security of income for something that could potentially make you happy, but also not.
Yeah. Well, wow. I think it's important to recognize that they think that that it's a threat because they don't know different. Like, the truth is, everyone wants security, but not having a 9-to-5 doesn't mean you're not having security.
Right.
You can actually have far more security in a lot of creative ways, but in the same breath,
I'm the big guy.
The reason they do that, it's called ideological absorption. The concept behind it is that it's reassuring to you to have your ideologies confirmed by convincing other people that your ideology is sound. So somebody who's trying to convince you, hey, you should probably not quit, is probably because they've thought about doing the same, but they want to convince themselves that
they made the right decision,
a healthier choice. Yeah.
Oh man.
It's literally, it's a psychological thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.